to breaking news into SportsCenter. Thanks to our Adrian Wojnarowski. Kyrie Irving continues to ramp up his conditioning, and that is why Woj says he will miss tonight's big game against the Milwaukee Bucks. This will be the 7th straight game that Kyrie has missed since January 5th. So yes, we're going to have to wait a little bit longer. David.
NBA action today. Let's circle Bucks Nets, however. James Harden dazzled in his Nets debut Saturday, a 32-point triple-double in his first game with his new team. No one had ever done that before. As for KD, a season-high 42 points. The Nets will score, but it's the Bucks who have the NBA's most efficient offense. Giannis doing Giannis things, averaging a double-double, 26 points and 10 rebounds per contest. The question with the Nets is, will Kyrie play? Hasn't been on the floor since January 5th because of personal reasons and then violating COVID protocols. Officially listed as questionable tonight. Here's Malika Andrews on why that's important.
This opens the door for Kyrie Irving to be available to play because in those past 6 games that Kyrie has missed, he has never been listed as anything but out. But I want to remind everybody that the reason that Kyrie Irving right now is listed as out or had been listed as out for personal reasons and then for the health and safety protocols, right now where that stands is that he was ramping up his on-court action. The Nets did not want, after such a long layoff, for him to just go back and have his first on-court action be in a game. So Steve Nash said that the hope is that he would be able to get in a couple of reps, even though they didn't have a formal practice on Sunday, so that he could get his legs back under him. He didn't, again, they did not have a formal practice. So that is where Kyrie Irving stands in terms of if he is able to play later today. He hasn't had a practice under his belt, but he would just have gone through some of those personal individual workouts, and that's what the Nets had wanted to see from him before they put him back in a game.
So the 3 superstars could be on the floor together tonight for the first time. We bring in our NBA analyst, Chiney DISAPPOINTED. So, Chiney, it's not a fantasy league. There's only one basketball. All 3 of these guys are alpha scorers. What's going to be the hardest part of meshing the new Big 3 in Brooklyn?
First, David, I love the Brooklyn Big 3, even though it hurts my Houston Rockets, but it's all good. And I love being able to say, B unit. But the biggest challenge when Kyrie Irving returns is all of them buying into Steve Nash's vision, knowing that it will take collective sacrifice for them to be successful. You know what they say, two's company, three's a crowd. Well, when there were 2, you mentioned it, James Harden scored or assisted on 63 points and KD had a season high 42. But when it's a big 3, will they accept or resist when it's someone else's night? Now, I know Steve Nash, the unselfish guard that he was, will be asking them all to find ways to impact the game outside of what they are best known for. KD protecting the rim, James Harden switching and guarding the posts on the block, Kyrie pressuring the ball, and also, using his passing a little bit more. Those little things are going to be the big things that determine the success overall for the Brooklyn Nets.
All right, so we'll see how Kyrie meshes into the whole thing and mixes in. We did, as you mentioned, get to see Harden and Durant together Saturday night, and it was pretty impressive. What makes that duo so tough to defend?
Look, David, it's super simple. Put them on an island and let them cook. James Harden and Kevin Durant both are at the top of the list when it comes to isolation points per game, which means in the flow of the game, they are a problem, especially downhill, especially after pick and roll scenarios. They are a nightmare for defenders because if you double team one, you give an advantage for the other. And that's all they need. Plus the points pile up because they are snipers from 3. And they can also get to the foul line. They are a dynamic duo, and I cannot wait for the trio because that's when things will really get interesting.
Yeah, it will be fascinating. If it's tonight or if it's sometime later this week, to see all 3 of these guys together. And the Nets currently the favorite to come out of the East with the Bucks in second, according to Caesars William Hill. And they face off against each other tonight. Chiney giving us her thoughts on this new Nets team.
U.S., an incredibly meaningful day that always has a lot of great NBA action. How about this one? Bucks and Nets. What a debut it was Saturday for James Harden, a 32-point triple-double. Again, this came in his first game with his new team. Nobody had ever done that before, a triple-double. As for KD, he had a season-high 42 points. How about scoring? The Bucks have the NBA's most efficient offense. Giannis is being Giannis, averaging a double-double, 26 and 10 per game. Back to the Nets. Kyrie hasn't played since January 5th because of personal reasons, well documented, and then for violating COVID protocols. He's officially listed as questionable tonight. Let's bring in Our NBA reporter Malika Andrews. And Malika, it's been 13 days, count them, 13 days since Kyrie last played a game. Again, listed as questionable tonight at home against Milwaukee. What are you hearing about his chances of playing?
Well, Sage, this opens the door for Kyrie Irving to be available to play because in those past 6 games that you mentioned that Kyrie has missed, he has never been listed as anything but out. But I want to remind everybody that the reason that Kyrie Irving right now is listed as out for, or had been listed as out for personal reasons, and then for the health and safety protocols, right now where that stands is that he was ramping up his on-court action. The Nets did not want, after such a long layoff, for him to just go back and have his first on-court action be in a game. So Steve Nash said that the hope is that he would be able to get in a couple of reps, even though they didn't have a formal practice on Sunday, so that he could get his legs back under him. He didn't, again, they did not have a formal practice. So that is where Kyrie Irving stands in terms of if he is able to play later today. He hasn't had a practice under his belt, but he would just have gone through some of those personal individual workouts, and that's what the Nets had wanted to see from him before they put him back in a game.
Yeah, after missing so much of last season, the last thing they need is more injuries with Kyrie Irving. You got to wonder what he was thinking when he saw James Harden, Kevin Durant combine for a 74-point Saturday against Orlando, scoring or assisting on 107 of their 122 points. Malika, what will be their focus tonight against Giannis and this talented Bucks team?
Well, Sage, while the Nets fans, while NBA fans are saying, wow, this duo can score, what James Harden and Kevin Durant were focused on after the game was that they combined for 15 of the team's 19 turnovers. Kevin Durant joked that, hey, I'm going to need to talk to my new teammate about how we can get that ratio down just a little bit. And Steve Nash, when he was looking over Kevin Durant and James Harden's stats after the game, he joked that James Harden almost had a quadruple double because he had 9 of those combined 15 turnovers. So they said that they're not that concerned. That comes with time. That comes with chemistry. That comes with gelling. James Harden's passing was really on display last game, and he said some of those reads were just a tiny bit off, and that comes with getting to know his new teammates. If Kyrie Irving, if and when he's added to the mix tonight or added to the mix in the future, James Harden said that he's not all that worried about how they're going to figure out their on-court chemistry because, in his words, they're all hoopers. And he said that it's going to be, quote, scary hours when those 3 get on the court together.
Yeah, I think a lot of people agree with that sentiment for sure. 7:30 Eastern Time tip tonight in Brooklyn with the two teams many believe will be battling it out for supremacy in the Eastern Conference.
You know, the win, your teammates out there learning, getting to know you. What did you, though, learn about your teammates tonight?
We have some special talent in this locker room. Very versatile shooters, playmakers, defenders, a little bit of everything. And that's what you're going to need, especially when it comes postseason. Obviously, we haven't built as much chemistry as we would like, but that first game, it felt good to be out there on the court and just giving guys confidence, giving guys energy. That's what it's going to take throughout the course of the year. And once you build that up and guys believe in each other, then it's pretty scary.
Malika Andrews with ESPN.
Hey, James, I'm wondering if there was any sense of this was like riding a bike, getting back out with Kevin Durant.
I'm a hooper, so I just, like I said, I'm very unselfish. I'm willing to just do whatever it takes to win. And obviously, KD is just a elite, like just different type of basketball player as far as the way he's able to score the basketball. It's so easy for him, and I know that. So I just want to make it a little bit more easier if I can. And then, for the rest of the teammates, our shooters and our bigs, make it easier for them. So, yeah, it was pretty easy out there.
Greg Logan with Newsday.
James, yesterday you said when you were asked what talent do you need to improve or emphasize or whatever, you said playmaking. And it seemed like that's what you were concentrating on tonight. You got everybody's shots, you distributed the ball, you moved it quickly, and then when you had to, you turned it on offensively. So can you say, is that, do you expect that to be your approach going forward, especially when they add Kyrie Irving to the mix?
For me, I'm just, I have so many dimensions to my game. I just take whatever the defense gives me. I play the game the right way, or at least I try to every possession, and just takes whatever the defense is giving me. And like I say, whoever has a hot hand, that's who deserves the ball. The basketball finds energy. It finds people that have good energy, good spirit. So that's what I try to bring to the game tonight.
Brian Lewis with the New York Post.
Hey, James. It's hard to get in somebody else's head, but I mean, you made it pretty clear that you wanted to be in Brooklyn, and at least it seemed like you were really enjoying yourself out there tonight. I'm just curious, now that the game's over, I mean, did it feel like what you expected, and how did it feel? How would you describe it?
It felt unbelievable. I mean, I hope you can tell by my smile and my play. Just excited, and for the opportunity. This is an unbelievable organization from top to bottom. And, for me, all I have to do is just go out there and be the best, James Harden I can be. And, good things will happen.